Continuing the best hair colors for each color analysis palette series, in this video, I'm going to be covering off the Muted Summer, Muted Autumn, and Tr.Muted palettes. A couple of important things to note is if you've been color analyzed using a system that is not the 16 season system as defined by the International Image Institute, I highly suggest you ignore the advice in this video. If you're using terms like soft summer, soft autumn, and things like that, that is a sign that you are not using the system I use. The closest palette to Muted Autumn, Muted Summer are the Soft Summer and Soft Autumn palettes, but the process to determine your colors in 16 season color analysis and the color recommendations for 16 season color analysis are different, meaning the color references you receive are different. There's just a different undertone value and intensity range between the systems. And if you're guessing at your color analysis results, I also advise to ignore the advice in this video. In the previous videos in this series, I shared with you that I'm a licensed hairstylist. I just don't practice anymore. And when I worked in the hair salon setting, I use Goldwell products. So this series will feature the Goldwell hair color chart, but it is not sponsored in any way by Goldwell. Here's a text description of your best hair colors. You'll notice avoid red is in this list. So that's intended to mean a fully warm red. When I was working as a hairstylist, if a muted autumn, muted summer, or Tr.Muted person came up to me in the hair salon and wanted to transition their hair color to their optimal hair color, I would have recommended a neutral ash, usually in the 6 and 5 range would be most common. I would use their natural hair color around the age of 20 as a guide. So if it was deeper than, say, a 5, I would have suggested perhaps a 4, perhaps rarely a level 3, and rarely a level 7. The sweet spot for most muted autumns, muted summers, and Tr.Muteds are in the 6 and 5 range. I suggest neutral ash to add some smokiness. This is a neutral range palette, but it's also smoky. I will also say another optimal hair color for you would be your natural hair color around the age of 20. So some people in this palette might have more red than what's presented in a neutral ash in their hair. So their natural hair color around the age of 20 would be a good guide if there's a bit more red in someone's hair to decide on an additional neutral color that might be considered. For fun hair colors, you would use your color references. For a discussion on natural gray hair, I suggest going back to my True Spring video in this series where I talk about some natural gray hair considerations. For this palette, you wouldn't have seen silver in the hair color recommendations. You could probably do a salt and pepper look, but in terms of formal color analysis recommendations, I advise you to go back to my True Spring video. Hopefully this helps.